Ranking the best wide receivers in Madden 24. We are back here with another tier list update. Today we got wide receivers. Now, right before we do go ahead, go over the new cards, we got to take a look at the old tier list real quick. And honestly, man, this is where it gets kind of tough because I actually think Dion, while he was like bottom in the S tier now, I actually think he should have been right here. And I think I underrated him. Also, I'm going to move up Chris Godwin and AJ Brown into A. The reason for that is they get that 1 AP slot apprentice ability, which I think is really, really nice. Now for tier movement real quick, I'm going to still leave Dion S tier and I'm going to drop everyone down. The reason why I'm still leaving Dion S tier is that yak him up X factor I think is actually crazy. He might not be S tier by the end of the video, but for right now I'm going to leave him there. And now this is what the tier list is looking like before we get into the new cards. And first card we got right here is Cedric Pittman that starts out at a 90 overall, and with training you can actually get him up to a 93 overall. So Cedric Pittman, he is 6'3", has some pretty good height, 93 speed, 93 acceleration. Route running wise, hits 90 short, 90 medium, does not hit 90 deep, but with like a coach track card or something, +1 deep route running, he would hit all the thresholds. The only thing that's like really lacking in my opinion is abilities. Like he doesn't get anything for discount, which I just think now is something that receivers need. But I do think like just base receiver, I think he's a good little budget option. I'm going to go ahead and place him in the C tier. I think he's a little bit better than say this DJ Chark. And DJ Chark's kind of like my measuring stick for budget receivers. I still think he's fantastic value, just really doesn't have the route running. And right after that, we got MVS Marquez ValdesScanning right here. Again, 6'4", 93 speed, 92 acceleration. This time hits 90s across the board for route running, and pretty similar thoughts to Cedric Pittman. Has good height, good speed, just again kind of lacking like those abilities that we talked about. For me, I'm gonna also put MVS in the C tier. And right after that, we get David Moore. He's 6 foot height this time, so a little bit shorter than the cards we just covered. 93 speed, 90 acceleration. This time for route running does hit 90s across the board, and again, no crazy abilities or anything. I think he's a tier worse than the cards we just covered. I'm gonna place him in the D tier, kind of behind DJ Chark. And right after that, we got Khalil Shakir. Again, 93 speed, 94 acceleration, 6 foot height, has 90 short, 90 medium, does not hit 90 deep though. And again, 85s across the board. If you play all Madden, that's all you need to pay attention to. But if you play all pro, you want 90s across the board. So for me, Khalil Shakir is going to go ahead and rank in this D tier, kind of right by David Moore. And right after that, I think we actually get the best budget receiver right here, Van Jefferson, with 94 speed, 90s across the board for route running, and he is 6'2". Van Jefferson, 92 overall receiver. Again, the only thing that's lacking on him is abilities, which is why he's not going to be B tier for me. But for me, he's top in the C. And again, I think he's probably one of the best budget receivers, if not the best budget receiver you could buy. I'm also going to move DJ Chark up because I just think he's so good. And I kind of want to move J-Mo up too, but DJ Chark is a baller, man. He's like 6'4", 94 speed. Like he is a beast. And right after that, we got Matthew Slater, 6 foot height this time, 93 speed, 90 medium route running, does not hit 90 short or deep. Again, pretty solid receiver. I'm just going to go ahead and place him in the D tier right here. At least he's not F tier. Usually when he gets a card, it's F tier. And now for the rest of the video, we got 94 plus cards. So the first one we got is George Pickens. He's 6'3", has good height, 94 speed, 93 acceleration, 90s across the board for route running. And something I think that is really, really nice on him is high run block, good impact blocking as well. So we can run block as a receiver. And if we take a look at his abilities, outside apprentice for 1, mid out for 1 for discount. I don't think George Pickens is bad. I just don't think he's A tier in my opinion. I don't think he's A tier, but I'm placing him like top in a B, man. This is one of my personal favorite cards, but I don't think he's one of the best. And to me, it's really just because he doesn't get like any crazy abilities. And after that, we get CeeDee Lamb, like 6'2" height, 94 speed, 94 acceleration. Again, 90s across the board for route running, and for his abilities this time, gets wide receiver apprentice short out for 2. Kind of what I just said about Pickens. Now, Pickens actually does have better abilities than him, but CeeDee Lamb for me also is going to be like in this B tier. This B tier is filled with cards that are either like slower than the people in A tier with good abilities, or just cards that really don't have the top end abilities, but they have great stats. And after that, we get Nico Collins. This is another one of my personal favorite cards, but I don't think he's the best. 94 speed, 95 acceleration, 6'4" height, has really great height, 90s across the board for route running. And we look at his abilities, route tech and deep in for what's called discount. Now, the person I compare him to is Randy Moss. I think he's like a slightly worse Randy Moss. Again, he's like, him and George Pickens are probably my 2 favorite cards in B tier. Rashee Rice is up there for me too, though. But after that, we get Rod Smith. So Rod Smith right here, 6 foot height, 95 speed, 90s across the board for route running again. And when I say 90s across the board for route running, I got some question about this. That's just the threshold. Once they hit 99, gonna play the same exact way as 90. But anyway, so discounts, wide receiver apprentice for 1, slot-o-matic playmaker. I like the wide receiver apprentice for 1. Obviously at this one, we're getting some stuff for 0. I think he's a really great receiver in the game. However, I don't think he's S tier. I think he is A tier for sure. And you can argue placement throughout this. Like I'd probably go like this placement right here with what's called Randy Moss, Montez Sweat at like the top end, and then Rod Smith right here. But again, if you want to say he's the best receiver in A, I could see that argument. And right after that, we get Devon Hester, aka Anytime. So he has 95 speed, 97 acceleration, 5'11", so a little bit shorter, but we take a look at his route running, 90s across the board for route running, running. Abilities this time is where he separates himself because, I mean, return man for 0, whatever. I mean, if people are kicking deep to you, whatever, but he can get deep elite or route tech both for 0 AP. I like that a lot, especially if you play any man coverage, route tech will go kind of crazy for you. Him and Deion, I have the same exact thoughts on. I think wherever you have Deion Sanders, Devon Hester is right there next to him. And their role, in my opinion, is X Factor players. Like, they are here because of their X Factor that I think is good. You can say both of them deserve to be A. I mean, I could see the argument that both of these cards drop into A and then everyone else drops down another tier. I can see that too. And after that, we get Romeo Dobbs though. Again, I think I say this every time he gets an upgrade, but he's 6'2". For some reason in my head, I'm like, he's 5'11". I don't know why I think that, but 94 speed, 97 acceleration. Again, 90s across the board for route running. This was actually one of the more popular receivers people were using in Madden Bowl, if you guys were watching that EA live stream. Outside of Prince for 1, deep out for 2. A lot of people were using him though because of the playoff theme team, and he would be up to 97 speed. This base card though, I don't think is like an S tier receiver. Honestly, this base card, I don't even think is A. I mean, he does have some height. This might be a hot take, but non-theme team, I just think he's like a B tier receiver. But I mean, if you think about it, right? Like thinking about Montez Sweat, Randy Moss, like Rod Smith, Hayward Bay, or Reek on a full theme team, who would you rather use? Let me know down below in the comments. Again, like, I mean, maybe he's better than Reek, but again, Reek gets 1 AP slot apprentice, which I think is valuable. So Dobbs, I could see the argument for A, but I'm gonna have him B right now. And now after that, we do get Jerry Rice. So Jerry Rice right here, 95 speed, 95 acceleration, 6'2", has a good height, 90s across the board for route running, and he can also somewhat run block as well with 72. This is a potentially a free card as well. And when we look at his abilities, first off, I don't know why they do this thing where it's like, oh, you know what, we're gonna give him like a unique ability, short elite for 4 AP. There is actually no way to fit this into any decent AP setup. There's just no way. I mean, route tech for 1 is kind of cool. Could be runnable. You run Doug Williams because you have 2 AP to spend. I'm putting him top end of A right here, or actually I think he's kind of below Moss, but I mean, he's an A tier receiver for me. If you run Doug Williams up, maybe you could see him S tier as well. I mean, it's tough, bro. I don't really mind the route tech for 1. Again, maybe he's S tier. I could see it. And now after that, we get Amari Cooper with 94 speed, 93 acceleration, 90s across the board for route running. Once again, he is 6'1", and for his abilities this time, gets slot apprentice for 1, short and elite for 2. I think he's not a bad alternative to say Tyreek Hill. Again, slot apprentice for 1. So for me, I'm putting Amari Cooper kind of right by Tyreek Hill. I like him a little bit more than the people in B. Again, no theme team, of course, because I don't base my rankings on theme team. Now after that, we got a super interesting card. So we got Puka right here. So Puka, 94 speed, 93 acceleration. The stats and 6'1", like great route runnings. The stats don't necessarily scream out S tier, but in my opinion, what does is he gets outside apprentice for 0 AP. Now, it's not a fit in every single offense, but say you're running Refrigerator Perry, William Perry, or you just don't want to run Hot Route Master. We're getting to the point where we have so many 0 AP apprentice receivers. I mean, you don't need Hot Route Master because everyone basically has it already because of the 0 AP apprentices. So I think Puka is an S tier receiver, and it just depends on the quarterback you have, whether he is or not. Like if you're running Hot Route Master, there's no point to run him, but there is a reason to not run Hot Route Master. And right after that, we do get Jamar Chase. So Jamar Chase, 95 speed, 90s across the board for route running, 6 foot height. And when we look at his abilities this time, the big thing is matchup nightmare for 0 AP. Honestly, man, before the Super Bowl pass promo, he was S tier for me. In my opinion, okay, I love the 0 AP ability. I think this is what I'm gonna have to do though, by the way. I don't love this, but I think I have to drop down Deion and Devon Hester. I think I do. Is Jamar Chase an S tier receiver though? This is, I don't, it's tough. I think matchup nightmare for 0 is great. I mean, it's great value. This is what I'm doing. So the reason why they drop for me as well, because when we think about offensive X factors, right? Like yak him up and route tech on Hester, great. You can run it. S tier now for offense, especially given some of the cards we're about to cover, because we have one locked in on receiver. That's definitely the meta. We also have angry runs on the running back. That is the meta as well. So I just don't know if both of these guys could be S. I mean, maybe you can argue it, like I said, but I love the 0 AP value of Chase and Puka. And right after that, we do get Zay Flowers. So Zay Flowers, 5'10", 96 speed, 95 acceleration, 90s across the board for route running. And for his abilities, gets mid-in, playmaker, route tech for 3. I don't love his abilities. However, he is a great receiver. And again, he's great on the playoff theme team. He'd be up to 99 speed. Playoff theme team, obviously an S tier receiver, but non-theme team, I think he's more along the lines of like A tier right here. He doesn't get great abilities in my opinion, but he does have some really great stats. And after that, we get Hines Ward. So Hines Ward right here, he's 6 foot, 96 speed, 90s cross the board for route running. And the big thing though, okay, so in the Super Bowl pass promo, you get 2 lighted up X Factor tokens from the field pass. You could potentially run mid and elite, third down threat, rack him up for 1. You don't have to though. The big thing on this card though, he gets slot apprentice for 0 AP. For that reason, it's much like what I said about Puka, and I do think he's better than Puka. Like slot apprentice for 0 is kind of crazy. Like he might be the best slot receiver in the game, because again, that gives you the value to run a William Perry at quarterback, who has like great speed, the best release in the game, you know, gets a great ability stack. And right after that, we get AKA Megatron right here. This is, in my opinion, probably the best card in the game. I don't know if I'm missing on that, but he's 6'5", 96 speed, 95 acceleration, 90s across the board for route running, and he can also somewhat run block as well. But the big thing for me though, man, is, and the big thing for everyone, the discounted abilities aren't great, but gets double me for 0 AP. Hello? This starts on for 5 plays, off for like, I think 6 or maybe 5, and then it's back on again. This is actually broken. I think Calvin Johnson is by far and away the best receiver in the game, top end of this S tier. And after him, we get 2-roll pass LTD Plaxico Burress. Again, he's 6'5", 96 speed, 90s across the board for route running. Now, for his lighted up X factor, again, kind of similar to Hines Ward, doesn't get like anything. I mean, wide receiver apprentice is actually crazy for 0. This is what you could potentially do, right? You could have Calvin Johnson on the outside. Like, you don't necessarily need an apprentice on every receiver, but you could then have Plaxico either in your slot or on the outside, and then Hines Ward in the slot. Travis Kelce at tight end, and again, maybe even Puka at the other receiver spot, and you have Howard Master basically everywhere. So I think Plaxico Burress is actually insane. And just for his regular ability, short and elite, mid and elite, again, Doug Williams now, like short and elite for one, that's a runnable ability now, because Doug Williams gets an insane stack for 6 AP. So for me, man, I think Plaxico is wide receiver 2 in the game. I like Calvin Johnson. I like Plaxico Burress the best. And yeah, I think Hines Ward with that 0 AP slot apprentice is just so valuable. Same thing I said about Puka, and same thing for me about Jamar Chase. Love these 3 cards, 0 AP abilities, and I might be the only person you see that has like Puka in the S tier. I don't know, but if you can't tell, it's definitely turning in the Madden 23, where it's literally everything is about abilities, and it's starting to get crazier and crazier every single week. I hope you guys did enjoy this video though, man. I know some people are going to disagree with the fact that I have Puka in the S tier. Probably going to disagree that I have Jamar Chase as well, and maybe you don't like that I don't have Devon Hester, or even maybe Randy Moss not in the S tier anymore. But again, like I said, for me, a lot of it is to do with abilities. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video, man. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Stay up to date with the best cards in Madden. Now, if you guys do want to watch me use some of these receivers live, make sure to hit that noti bell on YouTube as well, or check the links in the description. Hit that Twitch with a follow. I've been streaming on both YouTube and Twitch Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern. Would love to see you on some streams, man. If you guys do want another video to watch, check out this one, because I ranked all the Super Bowl pass cards like Plaxico Burress and Hines Ward.